ready to get to work on a liftgate on a Tahoe. So this dent's pretty deep, and it also has some of the inner structure knocked down too. So we're going to have to knock the inner structure out. Got some crowns about 1.5 feet out from the dent, so it's going to be interesting. You can see right here where it's got the inner part of the gate is actually pushed in pretty good. And so you can see right here that there's some cracked paint, which we'll be able to touch it up when we get done. So here I'm trying to knock the edge out on the lift gate and trying to get the tension to release off of this. That way I can get a large part of the dent out. You can watch right here. See how it just popped right there. And sometimes whenever you release the pressure real good, and here I am pushing it out with my hand after I release that tension. So sometimes you don't have to necessarily have a tool or whatever. You just have to have a knowledge of what the metal needs to do, and hopefully you can figure it out to make the dent repair much quicker. But this took a pretty good while to get this out to where I was happy with it in this area. So I've got this shrunk down quite a bit and getting ready to do some blending and stuff. We're going to do a pretty detailed video. Kanan actually helped me do some of this video and while I did the work. So since I had a little bit of help, I'm going to try to make it as good as possible. So here I'm fixing to use some cold glue. So Kanan's cleaning this off with alcohol so it won't have any residue or wax or whatever on it, because if you don't have all that cleaned off, then the next thing you know, your cold glue won't work or stick, and it kind of just messes it up quickly. And then it won't hold, and you have to get a new piece of cold glue, and the stuff's not real cheap, so you try to take care of it as long as you can. And you can watch right here, it's going to pull a pretty good bit of metal out decently fast. That's because the tension was released, so it's actually starting to look a lot better pretty quick. And we're going to just keep cold glue in this area here, trying to pull up more and more of the metal. Trying to move my cold glue around a little bit here and get some of the fresh that hasn't been on the surface so it sticks a little bit better, because it wasn't pulling hard enough to suit me. And here's the access through the inner part of the hatch, able to get through some of them holes there to be able to push right in this area. So it actually was pretty good access right through there and able to push right up through the middle of that dent. And if you get the right angle, it makes things go faster for sure. So you can see it right here, able to push really nicely on that crease. And be able to get through this hole here. So here I'm having to use the tap down and knock down some crowns and try to soften this up a little bit. That way that the metal will push up because it was getting a little bit too tight here. So when we get this all softened up here and knocking all this down, it'll make this metal come up a whole lot quicker and easier. Otherwise, you face the risk of cracking paint, so you don't want to just try to push through it, even though sometimes it seems like it's a lot of work to beat all this metal back down that you just pushed up. But you got to make sure that you make it where it's not pushing real hard. So now I'm using the hot box here to shrink this metal up and tighten it again, just to pull it all together. That way it has good tension and it actually smooths up little imperfections. Like I say, every video pretty much I use this hot box on a lot of my repairs, especially if you end up having very large dents. I find it to be very helpful. So we got a little bit of imperfections here we're still trying to work out here on this edge, but it's getting very close. And you can see this little hole right up in here. We were actually able to go up through here in just a second to be able to get to a little bit more of this area and to push it out. So sometimes there's little access points that really make it a whole lot easier to finish it out because you can see it from a different angle. As you can see, I'm just sitting here on the floor. Not exactly what you want to do, but sometimes you do what you have to get the repair done and to make it come out good. And just a little bit more pushing here, and then we're getting ready to do a little bit of sanding here, and then we're going to go over it and buff it. And here's what we've got in the end product. It's not 100% perfect, but came out really nice and definitely saved a lot of money for the customer, saved a whole lot of time. Call Dent Tamers for all your door dings, large dents, hail damage in the East Tennessee area.